Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the Council of Neighborhoods February meeting. I had to think of what month we've got here. Introduce the neighborhoods. Start with you over there.
My neighborhood is Jennings Plus, and I'm Craig Crocker. And what's the latest? There's some community garden project going on that I'm not a part of because I don't have a green thumb.
You're forgiven.
It was actually an awful accident that took place on South College a week ago that I haven't seen anything about, but I think that might be it.
That's what's happening. Okay. Next.
I'm David Hart. I'm subbing for Ethel Simpson, representing the University Heights Neighborhood
Okay.
Association.
Catherine.
I'm Catherine Adam, and I'm the alternate for Town Mountain South. I'm substituting for Ann Titus.
And I'm JP Peters with Clever Creek 2.
I'm Don Connor, Root School Neighborhood Association.
I'm Nancy Allen with the Woodland Neighborhood Association.
And I'm Louis Teague with Cedarwood Phase 3.
And I'm Julie McQuaid, the Community Outreach Coordinator.
Okay, we have the nominating committee report. Obviously, since
I'm the newest member.
since the other part of the nominating committee decided to go to the 2030 plan meeting, you get to give what nominations that you guys came up with.
Okay.
And then we'll see if anybody else wants to be added to it, and we'll vote on them and see what happens.
Okay, I'm pleased to report the results of the nominating committee selection process. President Don Connor and Vice President JP, is this Peters?
Peters.
JP Peters, and Secretary Treasurer Stan Lancaster.
Who isn't here?
Does he know he's been nominated?
Yes, he
Yeah,
does.
I know.
He
I know
was
these people.
he was familiar with that. I don't know what happened to Stan. He usually shows up, so
Maybe he'll still be here.
he could.
Well, I move we accept that slate by acclamation.
Second.
Well, then, and a list of ayes or nays or
All four say aye.
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 Okay.
You want
All
me to
opposed, say
jot
no.
down some minutes, or is somebody else taking minutes?
That's taking minutes for us.
Oh, okay. We don't
There he
need
is.
Yeah. And so, well, that passes then. Okay. Well, there you
There's
are.
the call.
Aubrey, we just did your job for you.
Well, you had,
Just finished.
that's good. We got somebody to come.
I stole your thunder.
My printer doesn't work anyway, so I'd had to say it all from memory.
I do have a
At
question.
my
What
age,
about our
that's not
treasurer?
easy.
Well, we're combining the secretary and
Oh,
treasurer
we're
into
doing
one.
putting them into one.
And when Stan gets back at the next meeting, we'll get together with him because he's got to do the bank thing to put his name on there. Since Michael Thomas was wanting to do that anyway.
Yes.
He's ready to give over our, I think it's $76 we've got in the bank to somebody else.
Hope he doesn't take a flight to Mexico or something.
Right. I don't think we got to worry about Michael doing that. I think we're in good shape. Okay, so we've covered those. I was wanting to have an attendance discussion. And I've talked to JP about this. We need to figure out ways to increase the attendance of the Council of Neighborhoods, the neighborhood representatives, and JP has got some ideas on why we need to do that from her recent calling around. Take it over.
Okay. Okay. Before I do, I want to say our new alderman, Ward 4, Rhonda Adams, sends her regrets that she was not here tonight, but she did want me to say to everyone that she does want to be involved and she wants to be a part of FCON. She is in DC, and so she will be here for our next meeting. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that, because she wanted to make sure that, that you knew that she was not skipping out on us. So, so it's good. I think it's good to have some attention from city, from aldermans coming in and being with us. I did a lot of telephone calling at all of we've got like 4 pages of homeowner associations or POAs that are active or inactive. And so I called them for several reasons. First, to invite them and let them be aware of our new meeting time, which is the 4th Thursday in each month at 6 o'clock. And also to see if the information that we had on record was correct, and I found out that a lot of it has been changed, and there's been a lot of misconception out there in terms of them having to register again. So they're supposed to do it every year, right?
Every
no matter
year.
if there's changes or not. A lot of numbers were non-working, were disconnected. There are new people that are in charge, new email addresses. I did get a list. There's several homeowner associations that have got websites now, and we have like 5 of those listed on Access Fayetteville, but I think that there's a couple other that we need to add as well. There were some common themes running throughout the discussions that I had with everyone, and I must say that it was enlightening to talk to everyone, because they were not bashful of telling you how they felt about FCON, and the primary purpose is to invite people back and to ask them to come and be a part of it, and to find out exactly why we were not getting a lot of people that were showing up to the monthly meetings. And I think it's like a lot of other organizations. Some of the things that feedback that I got is that everybody is too busy, they've got other things that are going on, or they can't make it here in time after work, things of that nature. But I did want to go over, and I didn't have time to really organize all my my notes and so forth here, but I would like to go over some of the things that they mentioned. There were about 2 or 3 people that were very adamant about not attending until the council had more tooth, as they put it, more tooth as far as being able to get anything accomplished. They said they were not interested in cake sales or pool parties or anything of that nature. And they felt like that also, that people should be invited to the table. Because sometimes that people that are sitting out in the audience don't get a chance to voice their opinion on things. And these are just some of the comments that I'm getting. And they said they're not coming back until the council gets more teeth into what, their, what authority they have and responsibility they have, and things of that nature. I did hear a lot from homeowners that they just cannot get people to show up at their meetings, that people are just not interested, they're not active, and they can't get people to participate. There was a lot of discussion about needing to increase their dues, their annual dues, and some areas where they had a pool and they had a clubhouse, and they've had the same dues every year, the same fees every year. However, their maintenance is exceeding their income that's coming in. So they asked, several of them asked if we took a survey of all the homeowner associations to find out exactly which homeowner associations did have like pools and clubhouses, and what common areas that they had, what the amount of their dues, and things of that nature. I guess they want to use that in negotiating with their members there as far as increasing their yearly dues. I did get some good remarks. They felt like that the FCON was a good link in terms of communication with city administration and the neighborhoods. There were some issues that were, they said in the past that there were some issues that were dealt with, and they felt like that there were some issues that were brought up that nothing was done on them. And as I was talking to everyone, I asked them their opinion as to what they felt like that FCON should be involved in, how they saw our role. And some of them provided me with input on that. Basically, they said is that you need to show accomplishments, like the Beauty Mark Award, but you need to pick a project, a positive project, and work on that would add value to FCON. They felt like that taking positions on issues with the city of Fayetteville from up front, as soon as we know that there is an issue that's going to be coming before the city council, that we need to get on that right away and educate the community and the homeowner associations so they can have input before it actually goes for a vote. Some busy quit going because they were too busy. And also they said, what's in it for me? That there hasn't been enough in the meetings for them to take their time to actually come and be a part of it. A positive note, they said it did give homeowner association a soapbox to voice their concerns and issues that they had to the city officials. Well, they said we really need some, I was writing down this so fast I can barely read my own writing, need real tangible projects to work on. They did mention also there was a precursor to FCON, because I was interested in when FCON was actually established. And they talked about, this one particular individual talked about Friends of Fayetteville was the one before
No.
FCON? Okay, well that's what they had said before. It was a precursor to FCON.
No, that was a different deal.
Okay.
FCON, from what I understand, came about on its own as a way for the individuals to have people in their neighborhoods be able to speak to the alderman and the city council, and also disseminate information that's available from the city, so we can gather up, if somebody has a problem in their neighborhood, where do they go? What do they do? And be able to have people like us that can know who to contact and how to take care of it before it becomes an issue. And we've been very successful in some of those things. Unfortunately, the fallback in attendance, people aren't paying attention to it. We've got some great handout sheets that Julie's put together over the years, and that give information that you can give to new people coming into the neighborhood and such. But we didn't have any really hard looming issues since the developer dropped, so since the world fell out of the real estate market. And so I think that contributed to losing a lot of the interest in, them coming to FCON, because there weren't any things to come here and gripe about. But, the history, how long have we been? 7 years?
2003, and I think, Nancy, you were the first chair, am I correct? The first president?
Yeah, you were the first president,
No,
weren't you?
Randy,
Sir?
no, Randy from Park Place, and I was the secretary, I was his.
Apon?
APON, yes.
Yes, and I was the
Yes.
vice president.
Yes.
Okay.
And then when
I knew
Randy
you were.
president-
I knew you were involved, or one of the officers.
Right.
Or at the beginning, and it's
Yeah.
just been since I believe 2003.
Yeah, and I know she was the second president for sure.
Right.
And then we had Sarah Lewis and Mark Kenyon, and then Michael Thomas and myself. So,
Well, there was one person that did speak very highly of the Welcome to the Neighborhood. They found that was very valuable, and the do's and don'ts.
yeah,
The Good Neighbor
Right,
program.
exactly. That type of information, in terms of materials that, or resources that they could
and that is one of those
use.
positive things that we
Right.
can expound upon, because it really has done well. And the people that have started paying attention to it and are using it in their neighborhoods, we've gotten some good feedback from people to where they've at least got something they can hand somebody and say, here's what we're all about, and it does work. It's a good nice communications instead of going down there and telling them, hey, you got too many cars parked in your yard.
Yeah.
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 Let them know beforehand when they move in, you
Yeah.
know, kind of what's expected, and
Yeah.
and it worked out really well.
Yeah.
You know, I do like that.
Yeah, and this person thought that you know, creating materials like that to disseminate to individuals was a good thing for us to do. There was also one homeowner association, primarily is retired individuals, senior citizens that live there, and the majority of them don't want to get out at night to drive. They said if you had a meeting during the day, they would be likely to do that, but you know, that's one of the reasons why they didn't come to the meetings. Another individual was very positive, saw great value in having FCON because he felt like that there was a lot of advantages. He got a lot of information when he came here. He thought it was really good when this year when we, I guess Julie probably sent out the information on during the snow storms that for if anyone could help a neighborhood clean up, you know, after the snow and so forth, that those type of things are what we are to be about as far as advertising or communicating that information out to the neighborhoods and saying if you do need assistance and so forth, you know, to help each other out, you know. So, and that would be a good advantage for us to also mention the stream side ordinance, and I went over a lot of that with several different people and mentioned to them that if they hadn't, you know, where they can get more information.
Yeah.
And also mentioned that March 1st meeting that was coming up and so forth. There were some issues in several different areas about some pond issues that they were having in one area, which was a real hot spot for everyone. And there was a jogging issues in terms of crossover road area that was going on there. And this individual said that he would be here at the next meeting, so hopefully he'll be able to explain that in more
Okay.
detail. But I think you'll see, like in our annual meeting that we had just last week, well, actually, it was Monday night, now that I think about it, it seems like it was last week. We're used to having like full house, you know, of people. And this year, outside of the board members and those that were running for the board, there were 6 people there. And it's not just us having problems getting people to participate and being involved. It's other people as well. So I guess that's the major issue. How can you encourage, how can you motivate these individuals to come and be a part of the Council of Neighborhoods? And I think that's something that we're going to have to address as we move forward. But this gives you a flavor of some of the things that, you know, that people have been talking about and some of their concerns and issues that they have. So it's not just an issue of, even though that it is an issue to some degree of everybody being busy and having other places that they need to go to. But I think one of the things is that came across to me is that you need to be a real strong, viable organization or group, you know, that really actually produces things and accomplishes things. And I think that's the area, and that's where we need to focus on that, and being the voice for the POAs.
Okay, has anybody got any ideas on what they think that we could do to help alleviate the problems? I mean, we've seen in here that we've got people that want teeth as far as being able to communicate with the city government, and you know, they want input on ordinances. They want to know what we can offer them. What can we offer them? What can we give them that makes it, or you know, us, that makes it worth showing up? Where can we come up with something that would improve that? Anybody got anything to throw in?
Offer them a forum to be heard. That's very valuable because a lot of people watch this channel.
Yeah, and that is another one of our positives. We got our handouts, we've got the forum.
But that was another thing that was mentioned, that a lot of people haven't gotten their box yet, you know, since the channels has been changed.
Oh, really?
Yes, and so they don't get to see it, you know, they haven't.
Is that an economic consideration that it costs too
I
much?
didn't get that in detail, but it was mentioned several times.
I think the
Well, it's not-
boxes are free right now.
Right,
Well, I'm not sure they still are. It may be that the deadline was early February, I think.
I think so.
But it was announced, but not widely enough. And we brought it up in the telecom board meeting 2 months ago or whatever, that the little advertisement running on a government channel that was provided by Cox said, if you, something about it, if you won't have access, then contact Cox about a promotional offer. But they had promised in writing in the newspaper, I believe, in some places, that it would be free for 2 years. It wouldn't increase your cost for 2 years. That's what the arrangement was. But in the little blurb running on the station for a month before the changeover, it said contact for promotional items. And that sounds like we're going to sell you something.
Yeah.
But it was.
Right. Now, we
Yeah,
don't
it's
have the
actually-
little box.
Or we're
and
gonna give you
So I don't
keychains.
see the city
Yeah.
stuff.
I do know that they sent a letter to every Cox customer that did not already have a box. Now, whether or not everybody read the letter, because we get so many
Yeah.
things, but I know that they did.
Well, so
Mail
many of
letters
us
to
pay our bills
everybody.
online and all we do is pay
Right.
it and
Right.
go on.
So it could have easily been overlooked by a lot of people. But they, I mean, what else can they do? You know, they
Yeah.
put it on the
Well, they can-
channel, they do a
Right.
letter, they, you know.
It is a little discriminatory that the people that have the smaller package, you know, if they can't get the box for free, then that's messing up a little bit with the lower income people like us.
Yeah.
I think that that has been worked out as far as, and I don't know all
For
the
Cox.
details. I just know from my discussions with Lindsley Smith, Communication Director, and I can find out more detail tomorrow and send it to you. But the last discussion that I was privy to was that it would be the same price as the lowest tier. Whether they charge everybody at the lowest tier for a box, you know, every customer out there or not, it would still remain in that lowest price range
Okay, that's
with
good.
with
So
the
it'll
box.
be available.
That was the last that I
If you get
knew.
Cox, you get it.
Yes, and I will verify with Lindsley and send that out because that is good information, I think, for.
What about the AT&T U-verse? Does anybody know how that works on them getting channels? Because a lot of people are using U-verse. I use DirecTV myself.
I don't, but I
If I
can.
may, they came in at a high number, at 99 slash something, when our station, the city station.
On U-verse?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So they were never in the very lowest listing, but I don't know the pricing situation on that. Do you?
I don't.
Anybody
That one I
else
don't.
have U-verse? But,
I guess we'll find out and get Julie to
I
let us
can
know on
find
the
that
next
out
meeting.
also.
Is
Yes.
this channel 214 now on Cox?
I don't know.
216.
This is
216.
216, I think.
I knew it was one of
There were
them.
channel 16 and I guess it's the channel 2.
Well, it's 216.
The 200
or
list in front of it.
214. On mine anyway, I've got the box.
yeah.
One of them's the open channel and the other one's the city.
Well, back to our attendance issue.
Yeah.
I think that there is absolutely no doubt that this organization has done some significant things, and people are, maybe we need to remind them of
Besides
it
just
sometimes.
flyers and a beauty mark award.
Absolutely. That I really think this organization saved Leverett School. And that was kind of a citywide thing that impacted a lot of people. We started the mayoral and alderman debates, and that's turned into a big
Right.
deal. Lots and lots of things like that. So there, besides the issues, obviously, it's kind of an indication that things are going relatively smoothly, that we don't have everybody here belly aching about a lot of stuff. But I think just what we've done in the past and being set to talk about those kind of things as well as inform people that we need to make sure that we are doing our own good PR out there. And then another suggestion is that I think you have to kind of work it to get people here. Like one of your members emailed me and asked me to come today, so I did. And I probably wouldn't have had I not, because I'm really kind of a little burned out on the city. I'm not as a resident of it, but
But going to meetings.
but going to meetings, right? And
You know, a lot of us that are neighborhood association people, we're involved in other parts. of
absolutely,
The,
Yeah.
you know, and we've got a lot of little meetings going on.
Right.
Like your Elizabeth Richardson Center and, you know.
mine's Yvonne Richardson.
Yvonne Richardson Center, sorry about that.
They're both
That's
good.
okay, but I do think that it helps a lot if someone feels like they're particularly needed, if you're even calling them and saying, we're in the meeting such and such, and we really need you to be there. And I think that makes a difference. People think, well, it's important that I be there.
Well, some of you remember that Nancy used to do that
Yeah,
to get us to show up.
yeah.
And I took off from work in Springdale, drive down and lose 3 hours of pay.
Oh, I
and go
appreciate
back.
that, Aubrey.
And I didn't do it every time, but.
No,
you know,
but it does work if
it-
somebody thinks
It really works and you get interested,
you do.
even though you didn't have an issue.
Well,
Right.
what do people think about, should we increase our Facebook image? Should we add neighborhoods to the Facebook thing? I know we've got Council of Neighborhoods on Facebook.
I would love it if you would take the initiative of deciding what kind of content you want on there, or even, have one of your officers actually administer it, so that you can have more interaction, because, the amount of time that I am able to spend on that is limited, and I don't know what kind of information, because I can't take it upon myself to put information out
Yeah.
there. So if you even decided that you wanted certain information out there, I mean, there is a Fayetteville Council of Neighborhoods group, and it's actually got, I think last time I looked, 163 members or something, which it is definitely a good current resource
Yeah, social
for getting
media
information out.
will help.
Yes.
I think one of the things is the recognizing and the individual neighborhoods, like what we talked about and voted on last year as the Beauty Mark Award, in addition to giving an award to an institution or a business, to give one to a local community that has gone above and beyond or was creative in their own neighborhood and so forth. And I think to recognize those people, people have to claim ownership or have some ownership or buy-in. You have to use things like that,
You wanna
that
feel
will
like
keep
you're
them
part of
actively
it.
involved, yes. And I agree with what you said as well, as far as notifying the individual groups. And I think it would be good to include in that our agenda, or what are the topics that are going to be discussed and so forth. And that might entice people to come. And we can really step up, And in addition to that, I think it might be good if we, I hate to suggest this because this is another thing for somebody to do, is to really stay on top of issues that are happening in the city and find out as quickly as we possibly can and notify everyone, because that's what I'm hearing from everyone. By the time they find out about it, it's being voted upon. And a
Yeah,
lot of times you can't help
it's already
that.
at city council by the
Right.
time most
You
people
can't
find out about it.
that sometimes, but
And once
maybe
it's
there's-
published on the city council agenda,
Right.
for the agenda session, most of the time, timing doesn't work out for it to be discussed at this.
Right.
The last instance where an ordinance or being a proposed ordinance was brought to this, and the contributions and the input from this group was taken into account, and what was being proposed was actually modified, was the paid parking
Right.
in the downtown
Well,
area.
also I think that no matter what you do, there are just a certain number of people who really are going to care
That's true.
and get involved in that and know what's going on in the city. I remember when I did the planning commission in the first issue or two that came forward, there were some people there just so intently involved and filibustering about this, that, and the other thing. Well, I thought, gosh, they're really, really involved. Well, then the next thing came, and there they were again, the same ones, and I thought, well, maybe it's just a coincidence, but then it is just the same.
It wasn't a coincidence, yes.
It's kind of like the
Right.
2020 or the 2030 or whatever. We'll try as hard as we can, but we're going to still have the same people drawing on
Right.
maps and the same people coming to do everything. And it's
Yeah.
really hard to, if they're not interested in city government very much, I don't know how you make them be.
Yeah, that's true.
One thing I want to mention that I think we really found out I think it's clear to a lot of people that they don't realize what they do care about until after the fact, like the paid parking.
Yes.
Right.
Because there were several public meetings and opportunities for input. And
Yeah, and when Sharon Crossan came here, she got some information from us,
they
changed some
continued
things.
to hold, I believe, it was 6 or 8 public meetings
Quite a
before
number of them.
the final proposal, and people did not give input until after the fact, and then, because they didn't realize they were actually going to care that much about, paid parking on Dixon until it was actually in place, and then all of a sudden,
Now
they
they care.
realized, yeah. And,
Or we didn't reach them. They're in that group I was talking about, because I've had people say to me, well, I just knew nothing about that until I read it in the paper. Well, they had a million opportunities to be involved.
and actually, those public input meetings were in the paper before
Yes.
it got to that point too.
I've actually had people that I thought were pretty well informed about what's going on go down to Dixon Street and park and realize that they gotta pay a meter now. When did this happen? So, I guess we're all, out of the loop to a certain extent, but I'm not sure how we can gather those things up far enough ahead of time to where it can be discussed here at the Council of Neighborhoods. On some of the ordinances, we've done pretty well on. We were involved in the ancillary housing stuff and
Accessory dwelling unit.
accessory dwelling units. Thank
So
you.
use the proper term.
Okay, mother-in-law houses.
To prevent any confusion.
Yeah. And we were involved in several of the informational parts of developers on some of these smaller subdivisions that they put in, and got to talk to them, and our group gave input to them. They took it to heart, and it actually helped things, and it smoothed over things for them later on in the process. So, we do good in that respect if we're sort of kept as part of the loop where we kind of have to be talked to a little bit. And I'm not sure how we can do that yet. We need to talk to some people and find out, and I know Julie's got some ideas on how we can do that, but we're not ready to bring them out until we've talked to some of the people involved, at the mayor's level. And
If I can make a suggestion, maybe you can contact your city council members and see if they have ideas about it.
yes, very good
Um,
idea, very good.
Because they are the ones that ultimately make those decisions. And some of them may not feel like you need to be involved any more than you are. And I have no idea. But they may all think that you need to be involved. But they may have some ideas because they're familiar with the process and how things are. And that might be because they are the ones that make those decisions. It might be a good idea to just get their ideas.
And I have talked to a couple of the city council members myself, and they seem to be interested in working with us, but we've got to get 8 of them to be interested in working with us. To where they want to have things that are coming up before the city council that they've already gotten wind of, and they know are going to be coming up, discussed here, and maybe hit on some of the high points and figure out some of the pitfalls before they become pitfalls. Because a lot of times, people propose something or trying to do something, and they hadn't gotten the input from out there in the neighborhoods, and they'd like to have that input because that's what's going to be fighting them or assisting them, whichever way they want to do it. So, we do need to do that, and I'll be more than happy to email our city council members and, write up a little letter and see what kind of input I can get from them. I'm sure that we can have some favorable input, and I'll let you know next month's meeting, what we came up with from. But I'll be glad to take that on myself.
Well, I
You've got a
really-
bit of a problem that one of your phrases just touched on. Since the council meets once a month, there's going to be a lag time built in a good deal of the time.
Right.
And it's frequently going to be hard to anticipate things far enough ahead to get information gathered, make it be known that it's going to, that the council will have an opportunity to discuss it and provide input to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not suggesting more frequent meetings.
Right.
But the fact that it only meets once a month
But
gives you a time problem.
at the same token, even with our once a month deal, like on the stream side ordinance that's coming
Yeah.
up, we've known about that for 4 months.
Mhm.
And we actually talked about wanting to get people here to talk about it, and before it ever came near the city council, but we were having our attendance problems and couldn't get a quorum, so we couldn't have anybody come speak. I mean, they're not gonna wanna come speak to us when we're not having a meeting. And I don't blame them, because you've got to be able to, if they're gonna take the time of their, professional time to come and inform us of what's going on and discuss with us what they want to do, then we've got to have enough people here to make it worth their while to bother. Granted, we've got a lot of people through the other end of that camera lens that are going to sit there at home and watch this, and that might provoke them to come in to the next meeting or call the people and get the information rolling.
Yeah.
And that's what she's talking about, is having the teeth in this, and that's the teeth. Being able to have the information available to the council of neighborhoods and being able to discuss it before it gets into the, oh my God, we've got to stand in front of the city council and do this, complain about this or comment on it. And most people don't really want to do that. It's very few people that really want to get up on that podium and say something. They'll talk all day long at the coffee shop, but they don't want to get up there in front of the cameras and do something about it. So.
Well, we then have some issues that do have plenty of time for us, like, for example, the smoking in the bar thing is something
Yeah.
that's
Right.
coming up
Right.
that we could have a discussion about.
Yeah.
I just think it would be real sad for us to fold our tents. I don't think we have to always be being militant and carrying
Right.
on about something, but just to have this format here, I think we really need to be diligent and make every effort we can not to lose it.
And we need to have pertinent and timely things that are going on in our meetings to make it to where those people that you're
Yeah.
talking about that
Right.
don't feel like they feel like they're wasting their time. Well, give them some reason not to
Yes,
waste their
right.
time.
Right.
And that way we've got our forum, we've got our candidate debates, we've got our handouts that we give people, and we give these people the same opportunity to discuss the future of Fayetteville and what affects us, what affects our neighborhoods, what affects us directly. And
Were the beauty marks given out this last year?
no, they're still on hold. We had our beauty mark committee, and they never got a chance to tell us who they were going to give the beauty marks to.
I made nomination.
Mhm.
But I know, what do you,
It was
Well,
one nomination that we
yeah,
received.
that's, again, that's
But
an
those
issue.
kind of things you just kind of have to really get after, and somebody be at the
Just stay
farmer's
on top
market
of it.
with their jar. Catherine did that, and get people to vote and get interested in it, and that also gives us a lot of good PR with the press. They'll cover the place that got the beauty mark, and that gives FCON some positive stuff in the paper.
Well, is that a plausible move from the folks sitting here? Do you think we should try to have a representative sitting up there on the corner at the farmer's market during farmer's market time and hand out information about the council of neighborhoods?
Well, I think that we voted on that.
The mayor has a table there, and maybe we could at least have some literature there.
Now,
Well,
the-
that's one of our
the
goals that
mayor's-
we passed.
The mayor's table is actually run by volunteers. It is not a city project. So.
Oh, okay.
So
Those
I
are
am not
from his
sh-
campaign?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they're,
Okay.
yeah, they're people that are just kind of supporting that. They just completely voluntary.
And they
So
do
I'm
a
not
food
sure
drive
if
there,
they're,
too.
if
Okay.
they, I haven't heard from them yet this year. I
Okay.
would provide them with information that they asked for. But I'm not sure if they're planning on, I guess it's a little early to hear if
Okay.
they're gonna do it again this
Because
year.
they hadn't started
Yeah.
farmer's
I
market yet.
tabled some last summer for another, kind of a city, quasi-city related project, and it was right adjacent to that
Right.
area there.
Well, I think this is a good time because our goals that we
Yes, that
approved.
was in our goals.
Yes, that's one of our goals. And one is to, where was it here? Develop a fact sheet on FCON. Well, we haven't gotten around to doing that, so we can
Right.
work on that and have that ready to go by the time farmer's market, because FCON present at farmer's market is one of our educational pieces that we approved. So we could be working on some of those things now. When does the farmer's market start?
First weekend, or first Saturday in April.
In
April
April.
2nd, I believe it
Okay,
is.
well, it's almost March now, so we really need to get on that
Okay,
now
well,
and
you
get
and
that
I, you and
done.
I can get together and we can
Okay.
come up with the fact sheet.
Okay.
We can bring it to the meeting next month.
All right.
And see if it gets approved. I mean, we can do that and, you know, with phone calls, emails,
Yeah, yeah.
throwing stuff back and forth to each other.
And at the same
Nancy, would
time,
you like to be involved in that? We'll throw the emails your way and,
Sure, I'll try to do that. I thought that I had a different person set up to be the Woodland representative.
what
That
happened
would
to
be-
him?
He came once. And,
Yep.
I would want to talk to him about it first, because I don't want to
Okay.
usurp.
We'll find out about that and just let me know. and-
Okay.
And, you know, we can have at least 3 of us put this together as a fact sheet that we can pass out at the
Yeah.
farmer's market.
yeah,
And that is a step in the right
Yeah.
direction.
Somebody
Yeah.
should have some pictures about something to go in.
right,
If you
Yeah,
come
I
up with
agree.
the content, I can format it for you.
Okay.
Make it pretty.
Okay, yeah,
Good.
she's
Okay.
good at that.
Good.
She
There
really
used to
is.
be
Yeah, I
some
can do that
pictures
too.
of those original couple of beauty marks that we
We do
did,
have those,
and that would
Yeah.
be good.
yes.
I think at the same time, since we only got one nomination for the Beauty Mark Award, and since we, April is going to be here before we know it, is at the same time to have those nomination forms there, and so maybe we can get
Yeah.
enough nominations in May or early June, to present that award to a business.
And that
then
way we can have
the
a
fall,
business
we
and
can
an
have one
individual
for the-
one.
Yeah,
And give people a chance to look around town, see somebody that's
Right.
really doing something great.
right.
And get some honest nominations,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Nancy gives good nominations. She always has, so. Matter of fact, several of your nominations have become Beauty Mark winners.
Yes?
Well, if I may, Mr. Chairman, since y'all are talking about that, and I had to step out a moment, I'm very much able to defend the one that I made for Pinnacle Prairie.
Mhm.
And it was a very special, unusual thing they had never done before. And of course, we'd identified that land is an extremely good source of it's wetland, tallgrass prairie. It had only been pastured in the past, never been plowed. You can see the prairie mounds and all these features. So, last year, after the city, the new parcel, piece of trail was built through there, paved through there, on their property, but city-owned right-of-way that goes through their property, which would have been a street, was cleared to a street for the Aspen Ridge project, but Hill Place didn't use it, and instead, chose to use a bridge across the stream, which was a big environmental thing. But it had already been dug out, so we asked our neighborhood asked the city council to ask them to put a trail there instead of a street. And that's what they did. What the developers did at the city request. And then as summer came on and the pavement was almost done, I went to the people at Pinnacle Prairie and said, please don't do this third mowing of the year, which they've been doing during the growing season, which meant you'd get a start of, say, goldenrod, and it would be mowed down. You'd get a start of milkweed, they'd be mowed down. And so you weren't, and so they agreed not to complete their third mowing in the late summer. And this resulted in some magnificent wildflowers along that trail, which didn't have to be planted like they are doing on so many trail sites. Then, and with that agreement, I talked to them about waiting until the following winter. If you're going to mow Prairie, you do it, and you want the wildflowers, then you mow it only in winter if it's necessary to keep down invasive species. But during growing season, you want and one example is fescue grass. It's a winter grass. That's why was planted by farmers for decades. And the effect of mowing in the summer is that the native plants, native grass, the native forbs, the flowering plants, and the native vines such as the Lancaster sempervirens, the trumpet honeysuckle it's called, it is planted by people in their yards, but it is the wild native, and there are lots of cultivars now that are for sale in all the seed books and stuff. Anyway, these things, if they're mowed during the growing season, brush hogged or mowed, don't do well. They never come to bloom quite often. They never go to seed, so they don't increase. If you then don't mow in the winter, the fescue comes out, which has been planted for cattle in the past, and now is no longer recommended by cattle associations or by FDA or by the Game and Fish Commission. Has been fighting fescue for years because it's actually dangerous for deer. Anyway, so these people agreed not to mow it, and all during 2010 until August 20th, when it had been extremely dry, they let it grow, and that allowed me an extra opportunity to photograph many, many different species. So I've got, I think, 1,700 photos of that land.
Well, and we
Over the
can
years.
use some of your photos in the fact sheet and that sort of thing to hand out on that. So we'll get together with you as well on that when we're putting together the fact sheet, because we obviously do need photographs to go with it, pretty it up. And between the two of you running your Photoshop programs, everything else, I imagine we can come up with a really nice looking handout.
Yeah, we can do that.
And I'm sure I can get somebody to donate paper. I don't have a problem with that. And I mean, I've got a few friends that have, nice Xerox machines, so we can zip some off and it won't cost us anything. So we won't have to worry about having Stan figure out what he's going to do with the $75 we've got. Okay.
There's one other thing that I would like to recommend that we do, because this is part of the discussions with all the different homeowners. It seems like they were really wanting, there was a real need there to have information about other homeowner association. And it was brought up that if we would do a questionnaire asking each one of the homeowner associations to complete regarding do you have a pool, do you have a clubhouse, what are your common areas, how much are your homeowners fees, and they felt like that some of this type of information would be good for those presidents when they're talking with their residents, to make any necessary changes and so forth. So I wanted to mention that as well. So
Well,
we
do you want to
do
put
something
that
like
together, we get that approved, and
Yeah.
we can send it out to them and see what we come back with.
Yeah.
I think we could also, another time, brainstorm in our meeting as to what we have done in our neighborhoods to try to get our own neighborhood associations to participate, what kind of activities
Right.
work and what don't.
Right.
Barbecues work.
Yeah,
That's
food,
about
all
it.
that food,
If you've
yeah.
got food offered, that
Yeah.
seems
Free.
to.
Best practices there, yes.
Yeah, that seems to bring them in faster
Yeah.
than anything else.
Exactly.
But, that's good. Okay, so we've got a few things going. We're gonna put together a fact sheet then. And, we'll put together
I'll work on
your
the questionnaire.
list. Has anybody else got any other ideas on how we can increase our social presence? we're gonna have to talk about the Facebook stuff and
Right.
figure out how to do that and what to do and who to get to administrate that, who wants to sit there and live on Facebook for a while. Because I imagine
I
you do
believe
a lot
you
of
probably
that.
got some members that already are, that maybe not are not in this room,
Mhm.
but I know I'm friends with some that are on there a lot.
Yeah, okay.
And I know that they were the representatives for their
Well, you
neighborhoods,
can, you can share that with us and,
Yeah.
and we'll come up with a way to approach them and see who wants to run with that.
How do you find the Facebook page? What's the, what is it?
You can go to the City of Fayetteville one, or the Fayetteville, Arkansas. It's the main account, and it's one of the groups. Or you can probably just do a search for Fayetteville Council of Neighborhoods, and it
Yeah, if you
should
put that in
pop
the
up for
title
that.
block, you can actually
that's
get
what-
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it should come up for that.
Yeah. But it does come up that way. Okay, well, we pretty well beat this horse to death. How about some suggestions for the March meeting agenda? Oh, yes.
I've had one request for the March meeting agenda, and I told them that I would bring it up and just as an option. I'm
Okay.
not advocating for this. This is just something that has been asked. It was Joyce Hale has a program on the
Yeah.
Fayetteville Shale
Shale.
play.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to bring that up as one option for March.
Okay.
How
and-
about, I'd like to discuss the bars and the smoking
Yeah.
ordinance and see how neighborhoods are feeling
Yeah.
about that.
And that's gonna come up in early May, so that might be good if we can't get it for March,
Yeah.
to get it in April meeting.
Yeah.
People to come
Uh,
and speak to that.
Is there a group, is that?
Yes, Northwest Arkansas Tobacco Free Coalition is
Okay,
the
they-
main advocate for that.
Okay, they were here one time,
They were here just a while ago.
yeah.
And I know some people of that, so if you'd like me to contact them, I can.
Tyler Clark,
Yeah.
he's a neighbor of mine.
Ah,
Oh, okay.
He lived, and they are the main advocacy group
Yeah.
for that. So,
I'd like to hear from both sides, though I think it'd be
Yeah.
is
interesting
there
to.
does anybody
Right.
know?
I don't
if
think there's
another
an
group?
organized group, but I think we probably could get some of the Dixon Street or Block Street bar restaurateurs and owners to come speak too.
Would you
Not a
like to
debate.
run with that? Would you like to see if you could find somebody that would want to speak and,
opposition.
Well, I'll see if I can. They're out there, but I don't know whether they'll come.
well,
or-
I mean, you,
I mean, I don't think they'd, maybe it would be better to, I was gonna say to have two different meetings, but maybe it'd be good to
I
have
think
it
they
at
ought
the
to be
same
at the same
time.
meeting.
Okay, I'll see if I can find some smoking drunks. I know some
I
personally.
didn't hear that.
Wasn't there someone mentioned in the article in the paper about a week ago that was in opposition of it?
Yeah,
There were a
but I
couple of
can't
people that
remember
own
who it was
bars.
offhand.
And I can't remember,
I don't remember which bar that was,
I know
but
who they are, and I
Okay.
can contact them if you would like me to.
why don't you do that and
And
let
I
us
can
know.
contact for both sides.
And if we can
for
get both,
I
if we
think
can get
it's
both sides, I
important
think
to
it'd be
have
nice to
a
have a
balance.
balanced forum and let them tell us what they think and why.
Absolutely, I can, yeah.
And at least we'll disseminate the information. You know, we're not gonna vote on it, but, you know.
and what about this idea for another possibility with the redistricting coming up? You know, there's all these questions and so forth. How is that going to affect, you know, down even to the city?
Okay, now
you
how
know,
far
level?
off is that?
Well, I don't know as far as the final verdict on it. I do know that they're working on it.
Oh, well,
And,
everybody's
there's
thinking
been,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
there's
yeah,
been-
I
yeah.
know that, but I mean,
And there's been several articles, of course, in the newspaper, but.
would that be better for April edition or still in, or would March be better?
Why don't we call some of our legislators and see if we can get a sense of what the timing and so forth. I mean, I brought it up in case that is something that we would be interested in having someone come and speak to that.
There will be some sales tax things that,
Yeah.
votes that will be coming up. I'm not suggesting for March,
Mhm.
but they will be ones to think about,
'Cause they're coming
probably
up May, isn't
in a
it?
few months.
Or June?
Or a couple months that,
Yeah.
will most likely want to be discussed here.
Yeah,
And maybe the Humane Society issue might be something another time too. There's all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, do you remember who it was Joanne was? Cause she told me who it was and I forgot. It was about the barter and, garden deal.
Was it the ecological community?
Yeah, them.
Michelle Hossel.
Okay, yeah,
You've had them presented once before, and it was about the signing up for
Yeah.
the ecological community
right,
and
the energy
monitoring
deal.
your energy.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So let me double check with Joanne on that and see when her speakers wanted to go. I know she wasn't wanting to go right away. I think she was more leaning toward April or so,
Well, and some of the things
or
we have
possibly
there
even May.
take a meeting pretty much if they get
Right.
it going good.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
you know, when we get the tobacco folks in here, I'm sure they'll eat a meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I would imagine that each of these would take a full meeting.
yeah. So, if Julie'd see which ones she can get, we'll take the first one we can get that looks like it's a good one. You know, whichever one it is, whether it's, you know, Joyce Hale or whether it's, the tobacco people or, you know, whichever.
I think the smoking ordinance will probably be much more timely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you see
And
if
I
you
think
can
it will
organize that
definitely
for
be
us?
discussed quite a bit in the papers and the media
Yeah.
and everything by the time your next meeting comes around. So
Okay.
Yeah.
that's what I will shoot for. If
Yeah.
that's
Okay, that
That's
sounds great.
agreeable.
See if
Yeah.
you can pull that off, and then also, with what we've got on what we come up with fact sheets and the surveys, that's a meeting,
That's a meeting.
so.
Great.
Has anybody else got anything that they need to add?
Well, something that Catherine might tell us about tonight, I had some little pamphlets on the community garden projects and stuff in the city going on and lost them before I got here, I don't know, small pocket.
Okay,
There are some plans, I don't expect you to recite it all, I just think, what's an upcoming meeting that would be within,
well,
Next month or
there is
something.
a meeting Sunday at it's right outside the senior center, which it's the dig day for Walker Park.
Oh, yeah,
Community
yeah.
garden, and that is an event to which they would like people to RSVP because there's going to be food there for a couple of alternative restaurants. I know it's going to be good.
Do we know how people can get in touch with them?
There was an email or call. Elisa Netherland would know. I think she's still involved with the listserv, and there's a Facebook page and a website
Okay.
too.
Okay, so they can go
If
and
somebody,
hit up Fayetteville Community Gardens.
yeah, but
They do have a page on the city site also, because
Okay.
the city is a
okay,
partner
yeah,
Okay.
in the
Julie
program.
probably has that
So
information.
there is a website section,
Okay,
and so I can send that out.
and also give
In
us
the
an extra
weekly
little email
announcements
and.
tomorrow,
Yeah,
if that
good.
works, I can include
Yeah.
that.
Give us an extra little email on the list and
Absolutely,
to remind us.
yes. There's also a YouTube video about it on the city's YouTube channel now, too.
What is, I think you're in the know on this, doesn't the mayor have a new YouTube video?
It is the city of Fayetteville. We have a YouTube channel
Mm-hmm,
that most of our videos can't go on it because most of them are longer than 10 minutes.
Right.
Of course, it limits it. But we yesterday or earlier this week we put up the Today in America program,
mm-hmm.
and then I saw today that the good folks at the government channel put up the announcement or the little PSA that the mayor did about this Sunday's community garden event.
Okay, okay,
And I have started including the link to that in my signature on my emails.
okay.
But I will put that in some announcements tomorrow too, to kind of add that. And I think I actually sent all of you an email about the Today in America
Yes.
video being on there.
Yes. Yes.
So you can get to that channel and look at the videos that are on there, subscribe or not. Or,
Yes, you did, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's really cool.
Is it on any, or going to be on any of the cable channels or anything, or broadcast channels?
That's just YouTube.
I know we're talking about YouTube, but
I believe they charge us for running it. I don't know all the details as far as the what is being done and what isn't, but they are showing it in. Actually, Lindsley Smith has like the markets, the areas that are it's being shown, how many times it's being shown, that sort of thing, as part of the contract.
but not
On the
necessarily.
program.
May not be one we can pick up on our cable, but it's,
No,
to
because
other markets
it's
is
used
designed,
as like
so
an
it's-
economic driver to
Yeah.
bring people to Fayetteville.
Right.
So of course, showing it in Fayetteville, we're already here, you know. But it is good to try to share it
yeah.
any way we
Good.
can, and we do have full rights to it, so we can play it anywhere we choose to.
Very good.
Good.
Very good. Anybody else got anything to add?
Oh, I would say on the, trying to get more people here, and we were talking about how some of us are getting to an age where we may suddenly stop driving, just bad eyes and whatnot, and lateness. But maybe it's just a joke, but we need a bus. We need a senior center bus.
Oh.
But barring that possibility to bring people here, we could recruit by having a program, have a speaker go and talk about the organization at the senior center one day. They have all kinds of time, various things.
And also for any of these neighborhoods that are listening, if they'll email me, I'll come pick them up.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Gotta show her.
You know, if
You'll
they're,
have to start early.
yeah, if they can't get here because of problems like that, we'll figure out something.
Yeah.
We'll get them to the meeting.
We'll use that $76 to buy an FCON bus.
Well, yeah, right. I'll just put them in the Land Cruiser and haul them down here, you know, so I could pick up 4 of them, so, if necessary. Well, I thought, thank you all for coming, and I really do expect to see twice as many people at least.
Are you going to do the neighborhood updates?
Oh, neighborhood updates. Sorry about that, I forgot. We'll start with you again. You already gave your neighborhood update at the first.
Yeah.
Aubrey, neighborhood update?
April 17th, the Sunday before Earth Day, we'll have World Peace Wetland Prairie Earth Day again.
Great.
And hope everybody will come out. And last year, a certain lady we know made a video, about 37 minutes. It's on YouTube, and about Earth Day and World Peace Wetland Prairie 2010. So it shows some real old, ugly, hairy person talking maybe too long at the beginning, but then it gets down to seeing kids playing and Still on the Hill singing, and the kids getting excited about all sorts of stuff. And so it's very well edited, and she was very kind to do that, not as government channel, but as a cat producer. And so I don't know whether I'll ever have a nerve to ask her for another one of those, but it was wonderful to show what actually goes on, because you can't show many flowers, so we had to show pictures of flowers, that sort of thing. But wild stuff's not in bloom much at middle of April. Just start. Thank you.
Well, most of what I can report is that there's been a lot of activity about exchanging plants and cuttings. Somebody had a stand of bamboo that could be passed around, and mulch and so forth. So I think what it reflects is an interest at this time of year of trying to get gardening going.
Yes. Greening up Fayetteville.
Yes.
And you got people that have extra stuff that they're wanting to share?
Yes.
And
It
where
can be
where can they get in touch with you?
Best thing to do, I suppose, I'm not the best conduit.
Who is our best conduit?
Okay, David Graham, who's the webmaster of the listserv.
Okay. And phone number or email address? Do you know his email address?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. We'll just take his name and go from there. I'm
Yeah,
sure we'll figure it.
Grahame, final
E.
deal.
Okay. Got an E on the end.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a seed exchange day, or is that already coming on, or?
That was last weekend.
Yeah,
Was it?
last
Oh,
week.
okay.
We weren't
Missed it.
involved, except I suppose a good many of the green thumbs in the neighborhood were participating.
Yeah.
That was
I have a black thumb myself, so.
yeah, it was the Fayetteville Community Gardening Coalition.
Yeah.
Mine's kind of a deep brown, so I understand. Yeah. Yes.
Well, I haven't been out walking the neighborhood much this winter. Just trying to get to work and back, the 3 blocks up to Center Street and back to South Street. But on the way home from work, the other day on Church Street, I saw a Cooper's hawk perched about 10 feet off the ground. And
Where?
On Church Street. And my son-in-law, Doug James, told me that's what it was. Although we've had regular visits from red-tailed hawks in that neighborhood. And so maybe that's a sign of spring. I sure hope so.
Oh, I hope so too. JP?
Can't think of anything outside of what we've already talked
Yeah,
about.
you had your meeting, and et cetera, et cetera.
We had our annual meeting, and mentioned the turnout of that, elected new board members. We did elect to, all the fences in Claver Creek has the same stain on them. Well, it's time to restain them, so of course, I don't know if that's of interest to anybody, but we're doing that. And we're also getting so happy that hopefully, finally, Mount Comfort Road is going to be finished one of these days. That's going to be wonderful
Good
once
luck
it's
for that.
finished. I'm trying to see if we could get some more trees planted on, both sides of there, because a lot of them were taken out, with the expansion of the road and so forth. But, that's going to be so nice once that's finished. But we can see the light at the end of the tunnel now.
Yeah. It snowed in our neighborhood a lot. And basically, that's what we've been dealing with. Nancy?
Our neighborhood hasn't been very active. I had thought we had a new chair, and so we kind of haven't had our picnics and things that we usually do. So either I'll see if that can get resolved or start it up again myself.
Very good.
I would hate to echo what she said, but
You're in the same boat.
same boat. We
Okay.
tried to get a little neighborhood organization started about a year ago, and a bunch of people showed up for the first meeting, and after that, it just kind of fell flat. Nobody seems like they want to participate or do anything to help or offer any suggestions
Yeah.
even, so I haven't done anything. The reason I'm here tonight is because I got a very nice personal invitation to be here, and I think that's what it takes to get people to do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
All I can say
Face to
is,
face, a phone call or something. I don't think email even works very good.
well,
But that phone call to your neighbor and say, hey, I'm going to the
Absolutely.
meeting, would you come with me? And
make a few phone calls.
I think that's it's a personal invitation is what does it.
Makes a difference.
Yeah.
It makes you feel
What you
like
gotta
that
do.
you're going to make a difference.
All of us will. So, let's all make a few phone calls. That's great. And Julie, anything, have you gotten any new awards we don't know about? Every time we
She
meet,
gets an award,
she's got a
yes.
new
No,
award.
not me. The city, I think we held a meeting, but it
The
wasn't
Parks
televised.
did.
Now Parks and
Yeah.
Rec, they state recreation.
I
It's
thought
in
it was some
last
national
week's
thing.
Weekly announcements.
Yes,
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
And then, of course, the city of Fayetteville is, again, a volunteer community of the year for the state of Arkansas for 2010. The signs are now up.
Very good.
So, that's it.
All right.
Oh, I do have one thing. If anybody is free and, the dates escaped me, what is Arbor Day? Arbor Day, there's going to be trees given away at both of the Walmart stores. And so we're looking for volunteers to help. Well, it's going to be the, what do you call them? Not saplings, it's not big trees, it's the.
Seedling.
Thank you. I'm just totally drawing a blank there is what those are.
The little ones.
Yes, the Tree and Landscape Committee is working on that and volunteering, and if you can spend a couple hours at either store, let us know. It's
Okay.
on Arbor Day, and don't recall the date.
Okay.
So,
Tree and Landscape Committee.
Right.
Is their contact on that.
well,
Okay.
just let me know.
All right. All right. Sounds great. Anybody got anything else to add?
I move this meeting be adjourned.
Second?
All right.
All right.
Well, once again, together we will make a difference.
Thank you.